in dieser Saison schon 4 Sprintrennen und du hast gesagt, Johannes Dinge für 4 und dann erfolgreich die letzte die beiden letzten Sprints sind von der Anfang geworden. In dieser Saison sind sie das und manchmal natürlich am liebsten in dieser Saison. Der erste Weltcup-Sieg im Einzel, der Sprintsieg von Johannes Kühn in Hochhülsen in Tirol beim vorletzten Weltcup vor Weihnachten. Es sind noch etwa 8 Minuten zum ersten Start. Noch etwa 5 Minuten bis zum Start. Das ist der Zeitpunkt, wo die Strecke dann auch freizugeben ist für den Wettkampf. Wir sind 5 Minuten vom ersten Start für den Sprintwettkampf der Herren entfernt. 5 more minutes to the first start.
So, winter conditions, slightly ironic, Mike, that they've spent many thousands of euros and employed a lot of people to get the snow laid down because there wasn't any, and then just as the races come along, it snows in buckets.
It's amazing, and that's why yesterday was cancelled, because it was still wet and no snow. A lot of the track had no snow. And the final 800 metres, Patrick, the women's course is a 2.5 kilometre. That comes up later. The 3.3 here, so the extra 800 metres is very sugary. It's snow that's been machine-made, very sugary, big crystals. And it's quite a different snow as they will do that extended part of the track on the 3.3.
Well, here's our start list for today, and Anton Smolski, who's been a little bit under the radar today, this year, considering he's 8th in the World Cup rankings. The figure in the green box indicating where they lie in the World Cup this season, so that might give you some idea who's going to feature today. Fabien Claude, big day for him, Mike. Really, it's Claude or Guigenard for the French relay team in the Olympic Games. I think the other three are dead cert. There's Emilien Jacquelin leading the way now with Fillmaier in 2nd. Already I've seen predictions that one of those two is going to claim the overall crown come the end of the year. Christiansen 3rd in the rankings. A much improved season, and largely on the fact that he now skis well as shoots brilliantly.
Yes, incredible to lift his performance by so much. And interesting, yes, many saying Jacquelin, the strength of Jacquelin, and Guigenard coming good. It's a strong, very strong French team, but you know, we're still only 1/3 of the way through the races, which count towards the overall score, so I think we'll see some changes.
Yeah, you might have picked up on Tadej starting number 62. Roman Rees of Germany still has work to do if he wants to be on the plane to China. This week is crucial for him. And then Biathlon starting for Italy. Early news on the COVID front. The Russians have had one positive test. The Swiss have had one positive test. So their teams are being tested ad nauseam at the moment, just to avoid the whole team having to go into isolation. But they have ramped up the testing since the Christmas period, all due to the Omicron variation. And hopefully we won't have any teams being taken out of action throughout the next 3 weeks. Oberhof, Ruhpolding, Antholz, the venues for the next 3 World Cups. 3 days of racing here. We were due to be with you yesterday, but due to the lack of snow, hard to believe when you see these pictures, but there wasn't enough snow to race yesterday, so they decided to compact the program. And so we have the 2 sprints today. You don't think that's something to do with the fact that they haven't really got a paying crowd in, Mike?
I don't think so. The conditions, and really looking after the athletes as well. It's a busy week next week, starting on Wednesday in Ruhpolding. Only a 6-7 hour drive down to Ruhpolding from here. And then, of course, Antholz at altitude prior to the Olympic Games. So it is a very busy 3 weeks prior to most of the teams either staying in Antholz or journeying over to the Olympic venue in Beijing.
Yeah, and because of the altitude at Antholz, do you think that's our best indication of who's going to be on top of the podium in Beijing?
Often is. We saw Arndt Pfeiffer come good just there in Antholz. He always performs well at altitude, and then over in Pyeongchang 4 years ago, taking the gold medal in the sprint competition. Huge surprise, but often Antholz gives you your indicator of your medals at the Olympics.
Stefansson is going to be the first of the Swedes away. There's Smolski, who starts first, man from Minsk, doing pretty well in the standing shooting. That's really been his strong hand this year, 92%, and certainly been on the rise since the World Championships last year. So the clock has started the countdown. Smolski will be underway very, very soon. 109 starters in the men's sprint. This is the 5th sprint of the season. And we had 2 sprints here last year, both won by the same man, Johannes Tingesbø. And he needs to do the same this year, Mike. He needs a couple of wins under his belt to get back in the running for the overall title.
He really does, and Johannes Tingesbø, he needs that for his own personal confidence. Yes, he won in Annecy, the sprint race there. Didn't go so well in the next 2 races, but I hope and I believe we'll see Johannes Tingesbø back stronger. Certainly his ski time, I'm hoping, will be top 3 instead of 6th to 10th, as it has been for most of the early part of the season. I think he'll be back today.
Dombrowski starts for Lithuania, hasn't scored any points so far this year. His standing shoot has been the issue, losing a lot of ground. Incidentally, if you've got your diaries out, make a note, 12th of Feb is when the men's sprint will be in Beijing, and the Olympic race is getting underway on the 5th of Feb. We start with the mixed relay, and then of course we go on to the individuals, and then it's the turn of the sprints, and the 12th of Feb for the men's sprint.
just thinking, Patrick, as Smorsky leads the way. Unfortunate first bib today, I think. Look at the snowfall. It is without doubt slower when this amount of snow has fallen over the last 10 minutes or so when athletes were last able to ski on this part. Yes, there were voorlopers. And the coaches voted on that as well when they saw the weather. Only 27 people, athletes in the first group. Normally we see around 39 to 42 in the first group.
Yeah. Hidden Salo is away. Artem Pruma has gone. Eric Lesser goes for Germany, number 5. And Smolsky up to the first checkpoint at 0.6, 1:44. That is not particularly quick. Here is Eric Lesser.
You mentioned it.
So I was just going to say, his highlight really, Mike, the Olympic mass start back in 2018 when he finished 4th in the mass start, but missed 2 on the last shoot.
We've seen a little of that from Eric this season. When he chases in the pursuit, normally he really does move so far up the rankings, but occasionally we've seen a flutter on his last 5 shots as the pressure begins to build, or he becomes more exhausted. He's from Oberhof, Patrick, and normally he's got his family and friends out here. That's not the case today, so maybe a little less pressure for Eric today.
First Norwegians underway. Sturleholm Leigrid. Not sure he'll have been so glad to have bib number 7. Might prove to be lucky for him. 3 times he's shot clear already this season, but he's not looking as though he's going to win another 8 races this year. That's a positive start from Leigrid. He's struggled a little bit, Mike, and last year he couldn't do anything wrong. I mean, at the World Championships, he suddenly was a match for Johannes Tingesbø. He relies on his shooting. He just has the mind that can cope with any sort of pressure.
He really does. And you mentioned his shooting, not quite as good this year. He's 94% prone, 92 standing. Most biathletes would love those percentages, but at this time last year, it was 97, 91. So his prone was incredibly good last year. He's shown a couple of days of weakness on the range.
Yeah, and he had 2 good races here last year. He finished, what, 3rd in the first one. Guess what? He went clear, and then he finished 2nd in the second sprint, shooting 10 out of 10 again. So he is the master of the clear sprint, and that should stand him in good stead today if he can cope with the wind. Looks a fairly healthy pace from Leigrid. Cymbal Laszewski off the starting blocks already. Cymbal, we didn't see him in Annecy. Laszewski of Belarus, another man who shot clear in the last 2 sprints, and Leigrid with a green light at 0.6. So a positive start, but I think, Mike, as this race goes on, those times are going to get quicker and quicker due to the track conditions.
I get that feeling, and it's quite cold out there. Yes, it's only -3, but you get those gusts on you, and this damp snow coming down as well, and that does reduce the wind chill factor, probably taking it down in the gusts to -9, -10.
Yeah, I'm slightly puzzled that we're staying with Leigrid. I know he's one of the favourites, but just about the only time you get to see the lesser-known athletes is as they come off the start. So we've missed Laszewski, Bartko, we've missed Vindish. This is Philip Fjeld Andersen, who 22-year-old from Geilo, better known as an alpine resort in Norway. He has yet to secure an Olympic place. It's really between him, his brother, and Bakken. Bakken, I think, probably with the best hand at the moment, but Andersen did finish 3rd in the Annecy sprint, so that really is his little card to present to the selectors.
It must be a selector's nightmare having a team like Norway where there are so many so good, and it must be horrible. For like Johannes Dahle, he's not in the running this year, having won a World Cup last year and been so strong all year. It's very hard to live with when you're so good and may not be on that flight to the Olympics.
Yeah, really. Apart from Tanja Bo, who's seems to get better with age. The Norwegians are down, and I'm just wondering, is this a tactic? Keep them down, keep them suppressed until the Olympics, give them a rest after the last World Cup? Or do you think they've overcooked it this summer?
It's an interesting one because you've got Leigrid nibbling at Johannes Tanja Bo the previous summer, pushing him all the time. There's a lot of pressure throughout the whole summer. The young lads trying to be strong in the summer and passing the big names. And of course, Johannes Tanja Bo often not caring about his pace in the summertime. This is when it matters most. So you've got a very active team, desperate to make it. And I do agree with you. I think that pushes them even harder in the summer months.
Yeah, and of course, that selection, we see it in the cross-country, don't we? They're nearly always the best team when we head up to Ruka. Didn't prove it this year because it was too cold for them. They pulled out of one of the races and let the Russians sweep the board. But so much competition to get into the team for the season that often they have a peak in November and it takes them until around mid-February to recover and have another one.
I'm just looking at this time, Patrick. Sorry, you're right. Such a slow lap with the snowfall on top. Smolski, he is a top 15 skier in terms of his ski speed, but this is a very slow time for 3.3 kilometers.
Yeah, Erik Lesser with the quickest time at 1.9, closely followed by Leigrid. Smolski third fastest, despite the fact that he started. Stefansson from Sweden at 10, no real surprise there. Hidden Solo of Finland, he's a little further back, 13 seconds off the pace set by Erik Lesser. Yeah, I think Lesser knows how critical it is to produce a good result here today, and I think he's gone very, very hard. Now the wind, Mike, coming from left to right, it's blowing from the high part of the stadium, so effectively the majority of the wind is going over the top, but you do get a big rotor, and when it drops down into the stadium in gust, not only is it going left to right, but it's also going up to down.
It's really testing, and you have to, Smolski there looking at the flags, you have to, before he hides in behind the blinds left and right eye, so you have to be very aware. You still can see the flags through your 1.5 millimeter rear sight today. They open up the rear sight in this poor light, so you have to be very aware. It changes in an instant.
4 out of 5 for Smolski, just a slight lull in the wind at the start of the shoot, which is why I think he rushed the first 3. Then the miss slowed him down. Wind picked up, he was aware of that, got the last 2 down. So a mixed result for Smolski. He heads out. Standing shooting has been his strength this year. Finland's Hidden Salu, 1 out of 4 races, or sprint races, clear this year. He shot clear in the Olympic Games, actually, in the sprint, and finished up in the top 20. That was a really good race for him, 19th position.
Yes, I think the Finnish team, Sepala coming up later, I think they're a very much improved. Sepala bib 43. They're a team that is without a doubt, like the Belarus team, they're on the up. Oh, that's the trouble today. Snowflakes in the rear sight. Why didn't he have his snow cover on? Oh, he probably did, but these flakes get in when it's gusting and swirling around, and he's lost 11, 12 seconds.
Yeah,
precious.
Only takes one flake.
And it stresses you out. You've moved your position 10 times. You've blown through that sight 3 times. Well done. He's got the first. Good comeback.
Well, there's some consolation.
It was worth it.
worth the trouble. The viewing picture is blurred enough in these foggy conditions. Now let's see what Erik Lesser can do. The older the eyes, the worse it's got to be, Mike. Have you found that over the years? I guess you're of an age where your eyesight's starting to deteriorate.
Yeah, weirdly, without a doubt it has. And the last biathlon race it did, what, 2 years ago, strangely, although the eyes are fading, it's okay at 50 meters. You get the same sharp reading, although very rusty. You've got to repeat this hundreds of thousands times in the summer. But so you've got yeah, the eye's still good, but Eric may be feeling it at 33.
So Stephenson looking to overtake Hidden Salu, who, despite those issues with snow in his rear sight, is leading the way, or was, until Eric Lesser exited with one miss and a penalty loop. Eric Lesser at 9:30, 15 seconds inside the Finn. So that's the price of those mistakes. Lygride with the first 3 down. Can he make it 4? He's taking his time. Misses number 4. Breaking the rhythm, and the wind has picked up, actually. This is going to be a tough one as well. Well, Ziggy Mazet was telling him exactly where to aim if the wind did pick up or drop away entirely. It's not often we get to see the coaches advising on that sort of thing, but Mazet very thorough.
Very thorough. He wasn't where the camera was on him, but there the flags had dropped away, and Lygrade had to spend a lot of time to make sure the sighting was perfect, because I think the fall of the shot would have been way over to the left with the wind dropping off from the left. I would expect, Patrick, even though it's very testing difficult conditions, I would expect we'll get 6, maybe 8 athletes shooting the perfect score today.
Now, I'm a bit disappointed. They seem to have moved the microphone mic prior to the race. The microphone was down the butts, and it sounded like the revamped Big Ben going off. Quite tuneful, some of them, but they've changed that. Quentin Fillon-Maillet now, can he get himself another win? Certainly was in form in Annecy. Put the fact that it was a home race and the pressure of the crowd behind him, and came away with a 4th, a 1st and a 2nd from the 3 races there. Excellent points scored, and he still finds himself in 2nd place in the World Cup standings. Only 2 points behind his teammate, so 3.71 to Jacquelin, Fillon-Maillet on 3.69, Christiansen of Norway 3.47, Samuelson on 3.44, Latipov on 3.36, and Tarja Bo on 3.20, with Johannes Tingesbo trailing in 7th on 3.10. So we've got 7 men over the 300-point mark so far this year, and only 61 points separating those competitors. This is a tight season.
I'm amazed that Philip Fjeld Andersen, his ski time is almost a penalty lap slower than his teammate Lygrade. What is going on? On the first descent, Patrick, he'd lost some 3 seconds, so it's very much, I would say, a ski issue for Andersen.
Johannes Kern just starting for Germany. Now, Kern, when you look through the stats prior to the race, Mike, you know, occasionally one catches your eye. Kern has not missed a prone target so far this season.
Oh, that may well change today, with respect. I hope it doesn't. But that's brilliant shooting to have lasted this long in a racing season to not miss prone. That's exceptional. And then there's me talking about Philip Fjeld Andersen's ski time. He's pulled it all back. That was rapid fire on the range.
Yeah, good shooting, and just shows that pacing plays a part in this game. There are the standings. First shoot, just the first 10 or so through, and as you can see, sort of 50% hitting all 5. Well, not quite, just under, probably 45-55 for the first batch of athletes through. Now, Martin Pion-Soloma starting 32, world champion in the sprint, and always looks dangerous, Mike, because of the ski speed he has. He is not Mr. Reliable on the range. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does today. But I had a look at the Swedish. They've pre-selected. Last year, they pre-selected Hanna Öberg and Samuelsson. Ponsaloma surely must be a certain.
Yes, with his World Championship win in February, sorry, in this race, yes, he hasn't really shown those colours again, really, but when he hits all the targets, he's a winner.
4 out of 5 for Clement Bauer, and I can safely say that he's not going to better his PB of 4th. That came in the Olympic Games as well. It'd be nice to see Bauer on the podium.
I would love to see that, and just to get his magic back on the range, but difficult today. You don't feel too bad today missing one first time out.
Philipp Norath goes for Germany. Kern, Norath and Doll are the 3 that have reached the German qualifying standard, which is a top 8 result or 2 top 15 results. Gigener in a battle with Fabienne Cloud, and this is not good news in terms. Oh, that's dreadful for Gigener. The pursuit, he's unlikely to feature. Oh, is that the end of his Chinese dream?
That's so sad, and often it's the pressure. The wind came on so strong in that 40 seconds, well, the 20-odd seconds he was there, and that's unfortunate.
But are the coaches going to look at that and say, no, you were unlucky, mate? No, they won't.
No. It may come in, you know, coaches, it depends if it's very, you know, if there's a clear decision throughout the season, they may take that into account, but not normally.
Felix Leitner, we've seen some much better results from him this year. Julian Eberhard of Austria not racing here this week, still hasn't really recovered. He took a fall in Sweden and still not being able to do, you know, his full quota of training, and he's just not World Cup fit, which is such a shame because Eberhard's an exciting athlete. Krishmash from the Czech Republic, starting 37.
Who would have expected 4 years, just thinking that, Patrick, 4 years ago, that he'd take the silver in this event? Anything's possible.
And of course, 11th in the sprint in Pokljuka. That wasn't to be sniffed at either.
There he is, the great man, Johannes Tingesbo. He often comes back strong in terms of mindset, in terms of ski speed after his Christmas break. Loves getting back to wife and family, as everybody does, but the break at home does him a lot of good. Back in the small screen. Came in 3rd fastest into the range, but 7.5 behind Leigrid's time.
I think Ziggy Magzay's instructions are take the shooting easy today. Make sure of it. A clear shoot certainly is going to set you up for a top 15, top 20. The conditions are not easy. Bakken has done that. Anderson has done exactly that. Emilien Jacquelin, perhaps the fastest man on snow, certainly the fastest man in Annecy. And I wonder what he can do in the sprint now. What's he had? 3 wins in his career, Mike. It's not a massive amount when you consider his talent, but the wins all come in the mass start and the pursuits.
Yes, and the manner in which he won the mass start at home in Annecy was one of the best races and the bravest personal challenge I think we've ever seen, where he decided on the 2nd lap to destroy the field, and he continued to destroy the field and win by a decent margin.
Well,
yes, you mentioned. Yeah, but sorry, Bakken's time on the range, 45.4 seconds, is very unusual to see an athlete taking that long. Yes, he's out in 1st, having shot clear. It is worth it, but you're still losing 15 seconds on those who are shooting faster.
Eric Lesser choosing lane number 30, which is the most protected. The wind coming, as we mentioned earlier on, from the left. Still hasn't helped his cause. Lesser still with the fastest time at 5 kilometres. Bakken, Anderson, Lesser, the top 3 after the first shoot. But we've only had 22 of 109 through that stage. Hidden Solo leading after shoot number 2, having hit 9 out of 10.
Eric Lesser, he was shaking his head all the way down the range. He was very happy before the race. He's not happy at all now, missing 2 out of 5. And the wind was calm at that stage, and that's what annoyed Eric. Normally you would predict 5 out of 5 every time, but he's got that Olympic pressure on his shoulders.
Yeah, it's anything but calm at the moment, and Povenitsin is the man who's got the short straw. If he gets, I was going to say even 4 out of 5 would be good in these conditions. 3 out of 5 probably average. Now, Ligrid just coming in, Mike. Tough conditions for him.
All the athletes opting for lane 30, 29, 28, 27. If they get a slot there, the wind is more sheltered.
Oh, that's great shooting. That is really good shooting from Ligrid. He was second fastest in behind Lesser, a 3.3 second deficit, as you can see on the screen. But he's going to turn that into, what, something like a 35 second, maybe even more, advantage over the German, who's come out in 1946. 42.5. Great work from Ligrid, and that's just what he wants to start the new year off.
Yes, I think we might be Ligrid there watching a podium finish. Hey, Quentin Fillon-Maillet, last year in this race, he missed 4 targets, 2 pro and 2 stand. He forgot to do a penalty loop, and he was thrown another 2 minutes penalty. So from 26th to 84th he went.
Yeah, and then he bumped himself up to 8th because, of course, we did 2 weeks racing here last year. The Ruhpolding events did not take place. So 84th in the first sprint, 8th in the second one, shooting 0-1. Misses 1 on his first shoot. Doesn't put him out of contention for a podium, but it makes his life a little bit tougher, especially if Samuelsson there can shoot 10 out of 10.
Guess who's setting the fastest times now? It is Johannes Tingesbø. All the way down to 1.9 kilometers ahead of Norath and Fabien Claude.
Yeah, he's not quite as quick on the tracks as he has been, but really it's the confidence in the range that has affected Johannes Tingesbø this year. Johannes Kern.
You can see the foresight in on that eye patch on the left. Most athletes opting for a much wider foresight to get a better vision in these difficult deep snow conditions and fog earlier. Unfortunate for Johannes there. You mentioned his shooting had been excellent. Sadly, he's missed 1 now.
Yeah, so that's his first prone miss. The standing is where he's tended to come unstuck this year. Often misses a number of targets on the last shoot. Now, are we going to get our first perfect score on the range?
He's lost another 21 seconds on the track to Ligrid.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame, but 9 out of 10, not bad. He's going to be in a reasonably good position for the pursuit. Ponsaloma, just looking at his time coming in for the first shoot, not quite as quick as I was expecting. 15.7 down on the best so far. And with another 2 misses, 3 misses, 450 meters. Make that, if we're generous, it's a minute. It's much more likely to be a minute 15. So that's a disastrous start for Ponsaloma. And of course, his pursuit start on Sunday is not going to be good.
Norath on the track, his first at what, 0.6 at 1.7, 1.9, he was in second place, just dropped a couple of seconds as he came into the range. Three big breaths in between. He's pulled his sights back anti-clockwise, so he's feeling that the wind has dropped off a little from the left. It's not working. Just wondering if the track is, the snow looks wetter and therefore more soggy, more suction under the skis, so possibly a little slower on the track compared to Lygrid's early start number, bib 7.
Yeah, I was thinking exactly the same, Mike. And having said you wouldn't want to be going off in the first group, I'm now thinking maybe you would. It's difficult, isn't it? Because it was always going to be one of those days where the squalls came through, the snow showers came through, and it was just going to be luck, because they cannot predict that to the minute. It may clear up for those who start later on. It may be their day, as we see Felix Leitner of Austria.
His first podium last year, remember, here.
Yeah. And, of course, had a brilliant race in the Annecy Mass Start, finishing in 4th place. What a race that was, with Jacquelin getting the win ahead of Fillon-Maillet. I think you've got to be relatively happy with that, haven't you, Mike? But
definitely.
11.5 to play with. Half a penalty loop clear. 5 out of 5. Will probably settle the nerves. 3 out of 5. He's in trouble. He's rushing it.
It's a mess.
Oh, the mouth opens and a gasp of air. What has happened? You know what I was wondering over Christmas, Mike? You know, he's an incredibly dedicated athlete, but he now has a family. That adds to complications. It makes it so much harder to get away, do the full amount of training. And of course, with kids, you have bugs, you lose time from training. I'm wondering how much that is a factor.
It's all factors, isn't it? All these little percentage factors, worrying about not being there over Christmas, out training. But yeah, there are so many additional pressures. He is skiing a lot better though, so his physical training has worked. But sadly, he went for the fast shoot option, which I think is okay in wind, but it hasn't played out.
So, Jacquelin looking for his 4th World Cup win. Produced a 23-second shoot on the final shoot of the mass start in Annecy to secure the victory. Decided just to go for it, and it paid off. 4 out of 5, so he's in a much better position than Johannes Tingesbø. But we do have roughly 12 athletes clear after the first shoot. Bakken and Andersen of Norway have both managed that. Bakken now missing 3 in the stand, so that doesn't help his cause one little bit. No one, well, one man has just gone clear, and it's Kobanoki of Japan, who surprised us with his shooting early on in the season up in Östersund. He started number 18. He was 9th in the individual race up in Östersund with a clear shoot, and he's gone clear again today. He might just will he better his PB? I'm not sure he's quite quick enough, but he's certainly going to go top 25.
He will, and I think that 1 minute departing the range behind Lygrid, that'll drop to what, 1:20, so that's a good start time in the pursuit competition. I think Lygrid's time, he may well stand there throughout the whole race, bib number 7, although Jacquelin looked sharp and strong.
Yeah, Jacquelin quicker than Lygrid by 3 seconds coming into the range first time. Normally, that margin would be closer to 10 after the first loop. So Lygrid, I think, has struck a little bit lucky with bib number 7. And at the moment, it seems to be the way. The snow is just getting thicker and thicker and thicker. Lesser will be glad when this one's over. 3 misses on the day, standing in 3rd place still after that second shoot, which gives you some idea of how difficult the conditions are, with 17 men through that phase of the course. 10 kilometers, remember the distance, and Lesser, the best of the Germans at the moment. He's the only German to have been through the standing shoot. Here comes Lygrid. Well, he started a full minute behind Lesser and has ended up with a time 41.6 better. Is that going to be a win? It might possibly. It might just be.
I think it's looking good. Although Johannes Tingesbø, 3 penalties, he's departed the range only 42 seconds behind Lygrid. Oh, sorry, behind the lead time at that point, which was Jacquelin, of course.
Now, Christiansen for
That's fast, 16.8 to the first shot, 2.6, 2.7 in between. Most athletes are taking 4.5 seconds today.
Oh, last one goes wide. Maybe it was the Pink Panther who put him off.
It put me off. That's good shooting from Simbal. 49 behind, the ski speed not there. Can't give any more when you drop over the line like that in agony. So similar to Jacqueline, the very fast shooting option, it's okay. 2 missed targets, he skis fast enough to put himself top 5, maybe even on the podium with missing 2. Look at that gust coming over now. It's just bad luck if you're on the range right now. Especially the prone position. Those end lanes in standing, they're still quite sheltered even in the gusts that are coming through. Well, Kuhn has found all of his ski speed. See the added weight at the end of his barrel under the foresights. That's probably, what, 150 grams extra. That's okay. Missing 2 out of 10. So Alexander Fjeld Andersen, his ski speed didn't. I thought he might have saved something for the last loop, but 23.1 behind Leigrid.
Well, that was good work from Fjeld Andersen. Went clear on the prone after a slow first loop. I think he must have saved something for that last loop, Mike, and it is pretty severe here as we see Samuelson miss 2. Wow.
Oh, those 2 first victories, Patrick, of the season in the sprint must feel a long, long time ago now for Samuelson.
Well, I see that Paul Schomer of USA is still lying in 5th place after the first shoot. He started number 20, so it won't be long before he comes in towards the finish. Just trying to find out what he did on the second shoot. He actually didn't do badly. He's only missed 1 today. Now, Mike, the Americans have won a medal in every single Olympic sport bar 1.
Biathlon.
Which one? It is biathlon. It is biathlon. Seems extraordinary.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, Bailey. I was just thinking of those who've done it in the World Championships, and there have been a few, but they have never won an Olympic biathlon medal.
That is incredible. I thought that Josh Thompson had done it, but no, that was World Championships way back in '87. In Lake Placid, so at home, but no, that's interesting. You would think from a great nation that develops the sport well, maybe this time around.
Yeah, well, Claire Egan, I think, is probably their best chance if she can show just a couple of percentage point improvement in the men's. Oh, Schomer's not doing badly.
Benny Dahl, 19 seconds off the pace coming in to shoot. I thought he was going to have a good ski time today. Maybe he's just pacing it well.
Norath, 25 off the pace, coming in for his second shoot. Another miss, so... Oh, Germany don't have too much to shout about at the moment. Johannes Kern, actually, Mike, despite 2 misses, is still up in 2nd place after the second shoot, but we've only had 19 athletes 29 athletes exit there. Norath won't be a threat to him. Now here's Jake Brown of USA.
Yes, I believe it's Jake Brown, Schomer, and Sean Doherty, who were just announced over Christmas as the qualified athletes for America in the men's field.
Logging off, first time we've seen him so far today.
Compared to Samuelson, the flags, the wind is kind right now, and Loginov will probably shoot fast to take that advantage.
Lovely. Great shooting from Loginov. And Jacquelin's time of 9:21. I remember Jacquelin having to do a penalty loop. So this is looking very good for the Russian. Nice start from Loginov. Generally gets one win a year. Kushmash. Oh, 9 out of 10 would have been respectable.
Biathlon, it's so painful. You felt that middle shot, he flinched, a sort of a muscular pre-reaction, and then the last time he just overthought it. He tried to stay too long on the target.
Johannes Tingesbo, 3 mistakes in the prone. It's not the free-flowing, unthinking athlete that we saw last year, the year before that. 5 misses in all, Mike. Drops the pole. It's not going well, but you don't leave him out of your Olympic team, whatever happens. But something has got to change. He just needs a couple of good results. Schomer a minute off the pace at the moment. That's a good effort. He's gone into 6th place. Doesn't change the top 3. Lygrid, Anderson, Lesser still leading the way. 27:15, the fastest time at the moment. Last year, the slowest race, which was in pretty poor conditions, 25:12. So the snow that's falling has made a big difference. Out comes Jacquelin, 12.7 inside, despite the fact that he's done 2 penalty loops.
Well, still got a little bit to go. He may well exit just in 2nd place. What, maybe 5 seconds as he exit? Well, it's ahead, actually. He's ahead of Lygrid.
Yeah, and well, that will be interesting to see if he can extend that, Mike. Certainly hasn't been slow over the tracks, but Jacquelin has that luxury of being 30 seconds quicker than 95% of the athletes out there.
Just thinking of all the 109 athletes in the field, if you ask Jacquelin to give a little more on this last lap, he's the man that you would expect to provide.
Fabian Cloud, ski time was good on the first loop, but 3 misses, 55.5. Clear, and he would have been inside. Now, Tadej Bois, he's having the same trouble as his brother. Just one less missed.
On this day, they were 1st and 2nd. It's definitely not going to happen today with Johannes missing 5 and now Tarja missing 2.
I think it could be 61st and 62nd.
Oh, I do feel for Johannes Tingesbo. What will be going through his mind right now? It's certainly not loving biathlon at this moment.
But I wonder whether you know, conditions like this, Mike, there is a lot of luck involved. Great for the person who comes through and shoots well. But if you have a massive misses, you do have an excuse. And there's no point losing your confidence over a poor performance on the range here.
No, very much, and you're right. And although he missed 5, remember all those ahead of him. There's very few that have hit 10 out of 10 today, and of course Jacquelin has missed 2. So I still think Johannes Tingesbo will place in the top 25, maybe the top 30 by the end of the day.
Yeah, so far of the 40 athletes through the 2nd shoot, only 2 have gone clear. Zachner of Estonia has hit the perfect 10 and finds himself in 7th place. If he finishes top 10, that would be absolutely amazing for him. Started number 41. And I'm just trying to check on Zachner's PB. It's 29th, so I think almost certainly he is going to be improving on that. Fion-Maillet into the finish, the second of these athletes. Here he comes. He's not going to match Lygrid. Sorok Vostov has just gone into second ahead of Andersen, and Fion-Maillet is going into third. So the Norwegian domination at the top of the table has been blown apart. Still Lygrid winning, and Fion-Maillet into second, into third, with Jacquelin, the quickest out on the track at the moment, yet to go through 7.3.
Yes, Fion-Maillet taking somewhat 14 seconds roughly off Lygrid ski time on the last lap, so that's good news for Jacquelin. I think he left the range with a plus of 1.8. I think we'll see him taking that lead on to 10 or 12 seconds.
Johannes Kühn am Zielstrich, es geht das Podium für ihn. Johannes Kühn immer noch auf Rang 3 nach den zweiten Schießen. Jetzt Johannes Kühn im Ziel auf dem vorläufigen zweiten Rang.
So Kern 3.5 down. Yeah, skiing well. That's good news, isn't it, Mike? And on a day like this, if you produce a decent ski time, at least you've got something to celebrate. Don't worry too much about the shooting. Thomas Bormolini. How do you think Simon Schemp would have enjoyed today?
Schemp, he was great, but he did not like the wind. When you're brought up and have shot all your life on that very shaded range in Ruhpolding, any breeze after that, it must feel terrible.
Yeah, great shooting from Bormolini. Good news for the Italians. 10 out of 10, becomes the third man to go clear. And Bormolini upping the pace, boosted by that perfect shoot in the stand position and the prone. Jesper Nellin for Sweden. 1, 2 is going to be 3 misses. Yes, it is. Oh, all sorts of nightmares. 4 in all. That's an extra 600 meters. So an extra 6% of distance skied today. You cannot give away that sort of advantage.
You can feel the pain in that moment. Instantly, you know you've picked up, what, a minute 15 extra time onto your race. You didn't plan it that way. You always want to believe you can get well, just do your best. Hit as many targets as you can.
So Jacquelin on the charge. He came out of the range 1.8 ahead of Lygrid. He's extended that to 7. Looks as though he's going to take the lead. But Mike, he can't count his chickens, because Loginov is the leader after the first shoot, having gone clear. And Loginov will be in pretty soon, I think, next couple of minutes for his second shoot.
Silber mit der Staffel bei der WM 2019 in Östersund geholt.
He looked tired, Jacquelin. If it was still back in Annecy before Christmas, he would take 20 seconds, 25 possibly out of Lygrid. So a little tired looking today with his bulk training over Christmas.
But he still looks strong. He looked confident before the start. You can see the soft snow there. He negotiates that without any problem at all. It's getting softer and softer. The snow's, the temperature's not cold, so it's still a little bit damp, the snow. There's a bit of suction between the base of the ski and the snow, which is just making things that little bit harder. Kushmarsh leading that train up the climb back towards the stadium. Now, I was just about to say 5 out of 5, and he's looking at a position in the top 10.
Very limited, very little wind affecting him. I thought he might try a little faster.
Loginov started number 56, so just a minute or so. 73, you'll probably recognize as Simon Ada, just preparing to shoot. I think that's Loginov arriving on lane number 30. He'll be delighted that that was free. Here he is, big moment. Has to get 5.
Long time to the first shot release.
Yeah, lots of movement in the barrel, but reflexes are good so far. Just needs 2 more, 1 more. Nerves are starting to play a part. Here comes the wind. Oh, what a shame. There goes his chance of the win. Loginov so close, so close. And that was a pretty brutal gust dropping down over the stands. Certainly unsettled Loginov, but all the way through that shoot, Mike, it wasn't one that gave you confidence. There was lots of movement, brilliant reflexes, but 4 out of 5 just isn't good enough on this occasion.
Yes, massive routine changing. He normally releases in about 12 to 14 seconds and then 1.9 to 2.3 in between each shot. But hey, if you come into the range first, why not try and get your breathing under control? But I think you really held everything just too long. It's not his normal method.
So Jacquelin across the line, and he celebrates. He's celebrating the lead. He doesn't know if he's going to win. It does look likely at the moment. We've got Babikov of Russia, actually, who's gone clear on the first shoot, and he started number 60, so number 63. So it won't be long before he's in for his second shoot. He has a chance.
Hey, Loginov, he's just gone out at 5.6 behind Jacquelin. I think it could be a Loginov day, although actually his ski time is slower because Jacquelin has missed 2 to that point and Loginov has only missed 1.
But he has a target, Mike, and the Russian coaches will give him exactly that information. I think they'll probably say you're 6 seconds off the lead rather than telling him it's Jacquelin.
Anybody but Jacquelin. Well, he certainly looked sparky coming up the first climb.
Here he goes. Well, let's see what the margin is, as Mike said.
He's having to go wide there, around 94, up the Bergsteig, as it's called.
Yeah, 6 seconds the margin. Last time out of the range. There's a little confusing. Jusinov has gone to the top of the table after the second shoot, but there's definitely a problem there. I think that's just his first shoot. Still 15 meters or so to go. 2.7. My goodness, Mike. He has pushed hard. He has pushed incredibly hard. And we've seen this in the past. You come out of the range, you work to the top of the climb, and then you just don't have anything to give on the final climb back up to the stadium. So he's got to try and get as much recovery on this downhill as possible. But that is a monumental effort from Loginov over the first kilometre or so of this final lap.
And he made it, Patrick, I thought he made it look quite in control within himself, as opposed to Jacquelin, who was attacking up that climb. So you just never know. Maybe it will be another win. It's been a long time since Loginov last won.
Are you putting your money on that? I think I'm still backing Jacquelin somehow. We've seen it here in particular, that if you get too excited after that second shoot, you can have problems. Now, Talia Bo, can he give the Burf family something to celebrate? Not at the moment. His brother missed 50%.
Strangely, often on a windy day, when you expect it to be a gale when you come in, and then it's very calm like this, that almost puts you off. But he got away with 1 target missed.
Now, Babikov, 5 out of 5, and he's pretty much on level terms with Jacquelin. Needs to complete in around 27 seconds. Well, that's a good clear shoot. First phase done. The time at 32, giving away a little bit on the range. He's not going to match Jacquelin. Ligrid's still lying in second. Loginov third, but we know he now has the lead out on the tracks. Waiting for Loginov to go through 7.3. Babikov 9.3 outside. He's in contention for a podium.
Yes, Babikov has been resigned to IBU Cup second division racing, but racing well there, not winning that many times, but certainly racing well. But today he's third at the moment.
Christiansen across the line. Norway not coping very well with the windy conditions. Surprising, they get plenty of windy days up in Norway for training, especially at this time of year.
Still one strong Russian as we look at Loganov still. Tsvetkov brought in in fact, for 2 years he hasn't been involved in World Cup racing, but I think he's in good form, recent good form at IBU Cup.
Loganov still has the lead, Mike, at 8.4, but he's lost half a second to Jacquelin between 7.3 and 8.4. The next 200 meters are going to be absolutely key. We should get a readout at 8.6 as we watch Bormolini across the line. Good clear shoot from him. He's gone into 8th place, and the best of those to have shot the perfect score so far. Jacquelin, Lygrid, Kuhn, Vostok for Russia, Fiormaillet for France in 5, Anderson in 6, and we still have 2 Russians in contention. Babikov is one, Loginov is the other. Loginov is the closer of those two to the finish.
Well, he's upped it to 4.7 now, Patrick. That's good, strong fighting from Loginov.
Well, the last climb to come. You can gain 5 seconds, you can lose 5 seconds. He's got a bit of company as well. Simon Destir just behind Loginov out on the tracks. That's important. Samuelson, 2 misses in the prone. Good standing shoot. Now, he could squeeze into the top 10.
Good comeback when you missed 2 in the prone. Yes, it was shaded in standing, but he took his advantage as well.
And Samuelson 47 down, so that's how far behind Jacquelin he will start in the pursuit. Swedes, the Swedish winter sport, particularly the biathlon, getting an increase in funding to improve the medical facilities and training facilities over the recent years.
Oh, have a look at that. Take that last shot away, and we had a contender.
Yeah, we saw Oleana Bjorndalen giving Cheng a briefing just before the race. Both Mike and I commented, we haven't really seen the Chinese this year, but they are back. They are back. And the way things look at the moment, Mike, they're only likely to get two places to race in the Olympics.
It's and they've invested so much, as you'd expect. Big names, the technical staff, the waxing technicians, Scandinavian, huge team built around them, and this is looking great for Fang Ming Cheng. Cheng, he's gone out in 11th place. Take that 1 penalty away, he would have probably gone out in 4th place. So good news for Oleana Bjorndalen, Dobracheva, and all the backup team for the Chinese. Huge Chinese team. Loganov is still hanging in there, Patrick. He has to tuck low, maximise the descent here, but the tracks are so slow today. He's not going to glide far.
Yeah, I see Detieu isn't offering any assistance at all. That would have helped. He can see the finish now. He will have got a split at 8.4. He knows he has a slim lead, around 4.7 at 8.6. If he's managed to keep that pace, it should be his. 27.07, the time he's after. 15 seconds left. He's got 50 meters to go. It is going to be Loganov who goes into top place. That's a brilliant ski, not only to shoot 9 out of 10, but to beat Jacquelin over the final loop. Sensational stuff from Loganov. It looks as though he's got another win notched up. He gets 1 a year. Well, he'd rather it came in middle of February, but that is a fantastic performance from Loganov, and that will give the Russian team a massive boost. Before we celebrate the victory, better just go back to the first shoot, see if anyone else who started late is coming through. Babikov we know about. Here he is, up to 8.6, down in 14 seconds off the pace. Good effort from Babikov, so we could well have 2 Russians in the top 5 for the first time this year.
Well, yes, Babikov, he's only got 2.3 seconds to find to actually surpass Lygrid and put himself on the podium. Benny Dahl missing 4. What's that? 27th place, 142 behind.
Simoneda last season. I'll miss him on the range when he's retired, Mike. He's been a groundbreaking athlete in many, many ways.
He has, I agree, Patrick, groundbreaking. There have been fast shooters in the past, even in the old days of biathlon, but Stephen Ader came in and shot so fast for the first 4 or 5 years before the rest of the field began to react and think, actually, this is the way to do it. But it does come with a lot of risk, shooting fast.
Yeah, if you get a gust of wind at the wrong time, it certainly doesn't help your cause. And Ader at 125 off the leaders. That's good enough for a qualifying slot. Looking at the finish, 125 would push him all the way down into 21st, 22nd place, but I think he's likely to be closer to 130, 140 at the end of the day. So a top 30 finish. A few World Cup points, but not many. Now, what's Babikov managed to do? I don't think he's got a huge amount to give, Mike. This doesn't look like a sprint to the line for me.
It doesn't, and this has always been Anton Babikov's weakness, or the weaker aspect of his great shooting. The biathlon, the combination of the two, he is not as fast on his skis as he would like to be. Never has been. Good to see Jakob. Yeah, hitting 10, another athlete. It's at least his shooting's coming back. The skiing still needs a little lifting.
Yeah, there were days when Fak went clear. He was fighting for a top 3, if not the win. And 103. He's got work to do on the ski speed, but to shoot clear today, a real confidence booster. Tadej Bo can't claim the same. 3 misses from him, 5 from his brother, and despite that, pretty good ski speed. So he's still in good shape, Mike. That's fantastic to get into 5th with 3 misses.
That's an excellent ski time. In fact, that must be one of the fastest ski times, alongside Loginov's performance, much the same. In fact, no, 25 seconds faster than Loginov.
Yeah, if it hit one more target, he would have been ahead of Loginov, and he would have been the leader in the race. So he'll take some encouragement for that. Here comes Babikov, fading in the closing stages. 23 goes down into 5th, deposes Tadej Bo, who didn't last long in the top 5, but will be there. If he's in that sort of shape, he could be a contender in the pursuit.
And all the time, these athletes coming in and knocking Johannes Tingesbo down and down. He still survives top 25. He's 23rd.
Top 3 nations in the top 3 places at the moment. Russia, France and Norway. Johannes Kerner, Germany in 4. Babikov, good run from Babikov. He'll be happy with 5th position. As you can see, only one of the top 10 has managed to hit all 5. Bormolini is in 11th with a clear shoot. Zachner, we mentioned early on, still in 15. Jakob Fak in 16. And just having a look down to see where Kubanoki has gone. He's been pushed all the way down to 33rd.
There's Johannes Tingesbo, 5 targets, 50% hit rate, but that's still okay. Ski speed at 122 behind, that's okay.
5 penalty loops. What's that? 2 minutes, close enough to. And of course, the residual effect of having done the extra distance before you do your last loop. Early start for Lygrid, who of course won the first race of the season but hasn't won since then. Buck of Mongolia. I don't know who he trains with, but I wonder whether he has access to the Chinese team, Mike.
Yes, probably. There is a lot of share in terms of teams, and why wouldn't you? I know the Chinese team were spending a lot of time in Mongolia this time last year, actually getting the skiing in. Good to see it. That's a good performance from Engbat. Just looking at Svetkov, he's on the track, Patrick. It's okay. He's only 14 seconds off the pace, and that's at 1.7 kilometers. So he is his ski speed is okay.
Loganov, Jacquemin, Ligrid, the top three at the moment. Well, that was a great performance from Engbat as we go back to Cheng Fangming. Now, that one miss has cost him a shot at a podium. 42.1 off, top 11. That is absolutely brilliant, and just what the Chinese needed a month or so before the start of the Games. Remember, the first biathlon race on the 5th of February, the sprint on the 12th.
The wind has completely changed for Svetkov. He zeroed what at such a long time ago. It's coming towards him now. It was strong from the left. He made the adjustment, and he made the adjustment correctly. Almost dead wind, and a lot less snow now as well, Patrick. So for me, this could be slightly faster conditions, definitely easier on the range.
Yeah, just looking at Cheng's performance, Mike, one more hit, and he would have been into 5th position, just behind Johannes Kern.
I remember watching Fangming Cheng at the first ever Youth Olympic Games, and he was phenomenal. He medalled there, but his ski speed, he reached so deep down. I thought, have the Chinese team found a new technique? He's altered that now, and skis very much more like Oleana Bjørndalen.
Good finish from Roman Rees. That's a great effort. Well, we've still got some 20 athletes to come through the second shoot. I can't see too many changes taking place. Just having a look down the back end of the start sheet, Mike, there's no one really who's going to threaten. I think Rees really was the last one who had a chance, but having seen Cheng with a brilliant performance, we've got Chunyu Zhang, who started number 104, so if he can produce a good race, that would be even more of a bonus for the Chinese team.
You can see those lanes, 28, 30, 29, 28, they're just absolutely dead wind. Actually, the rest of the range is now very, very easy, but most athletes, in fact, all athletes having now exited the prone shooting. It's quite common today to see those 4.5 seconds, but there is no wind now for Bjørnats. I thought he might be more attacking. That's okay.
Yeah, not bad. And the Italians need a bit of fortune. They've got Bormolini in 12th, having shot clear. And then you have to go all the way down to 29th to find Dominic Vindisch, who missed 3.
Yes, and Vindisch, Hofer not here, of course, but Vindisch back in. He was poor old Vindisch. He was sent back to IBU Cup racing after 3 pretty poor performances, and he did come second there and brought back now after Christmas into the World Cup team.
Yeah, quite a few teams suffering from illness over the Christmas period. I know Tiril Eckhoff was ill for most of Christmas and decided that she needed to do the training now that she would have done over Christmas, and she will miss the Oberhof races. She'll be back in action in Oberhof, where she was intending to take a break. So she's had to alter her plans for Olympic preparation.
It sounds sensible. Oscar Brandt, he won't be happy with a 2 and then a 3 in standing. 5 penalties today.
Ligrid started 7, still in the top 3, only 15 seconds off the lead. So he will go to bed tonight knowing that if he hadn't missed the target, Mike, he would have been the top dog.
Yes, I'm not sure if there's a threat that Ligrid could be knocked off the podium, because Roman Rees is skiing very well at 7.3. He's just gone through. He's still in 5th place, but his time deficit is closing in. Loginov and the Russian team will be so happy. Often they come back strong after the Christmas training, often going to Ramsau. And of course, was it 2 years ago where the men and the women on the same day both won the relay here in Oberhof?
Totally fired up, Loginov. That was a very impressive last loop, Mike. I have to eat my words. I thought he'd really pushed it too hard on the climb out of the stadium, but he knew what he was doing. He's done it many times before. Sean Doherty with a slightly later start than usual.
Good performance, really good performance for Doherty. So pleased he's back up towards his best performance.
Yeah, this is going to put him somewhere around, what, 18, 19. Zimbal is safe, and Hidden Salu pushed down. Doherty goes number 19, 105. A 40-second deficit or a 35-second deficit, had he hit all the targets, would have put him into the top 10. So that's the first bit of encouraging news for him so far this year. Well, here comes Roman Rees. Mike thought he might have a chance of getting into the top 3. 19.8 the deficit at the moment. In the finish, Ligrid is only 15 seconds off the leader, so 4 seconds to gain effectively over the last 1.4 kilometers. At that stage, at the 8.6, he was still some 7 seconds down on Ligrid. A gust of wind, but it's blowing in the right direction. That will help his cause. Disappears back down into the woods again. There's no one around to work with.
It's looking quite glazed there, Patrick, quite icy, so hopefully he'll get a good slingshot up the steep rise before the final steep climb. I thought we might see our 6th perfect shooting on the range, not to be though.
Would have been good from Dudchenko. Safely into the pursuit for Sunday. Roman Rees is the man that we're waiting for in the finish. It will only be a minute and a half or so before he comes across the line. Oh, 33-year-old missing 3, Bukarnikov.
Well, he was threatening Johannes Tingesbø's 26th position at the end of the race. I thought Johannes might survive in the top 25. He's lost that by 0.2 of a second, but it's still incredible to miss 5 and finish 26th position. It will be dropped down 1 when Roman Rees comes in.
We write Johannes Tingersbo off in terms of the overall World Cup, Mike. Seventh at the start of the day, with Jacquelin finishing in second and Fiormaillet in eighth. That's another big chunk of points that he's lost.
It's looking less rosy for him, isn't it? But just over a third of the race is completed. I'll never write him off, but a lot of his magic does seem to have disappeared, certainly today.
So here comes Rees, his last 200 meters. And what has he done over the last kilometre or 1,100 metres? 6. He's not going to match Loganoff. We knew that all along. It's Lygrid's time. So as soon as it goes 0, he has 15 seconds to get inside the Norwegian, who's been in third place for a long, long time now. Kern on 18.6 is definitely under threat. I think Lygrid is going to survive. And Kern at 18.6 is okay. Babikov misses out and goes down into 6, but a top 5 for Roman Rees. Germany will be delighted. Kern in 4, Rees in 5, and then you have to go down to Eric Lesser, who's in 15th position. But 3 in the top 15, that's not bad for Germany.
It's not bad at all, and Rees securing the possibility to be selected for his German team with that top 8 position.
Svetkov of Russia. The Russians obviously over the moon with Loganov's performance. 27 minutes the winning time today. Almost 2 minutes slower than the first of the sprints here last year, which was on Friday the 8th of January. So he can't repeat Loganov's feat of hitting 9 out of 10. Babikov with 0 misses is the highest placed athlete to have shot clear, down in 6th. Well, that just about wraps up our coverage of the men's sprint. Just a reminder that the women racing this afternoon, their start time is 2:15 in Europe, so 1:15 if you're watching in the UK. Well, the wind coming and going. I had a look at a few weather forecasts last night, and they were pretty varied, Mike. I had anything from 5 kilometres an hour wind to gusting 60, and it turns out that the second was the most accurate.
It's so variable up here. Fog can come in, and when you're sleeping in the big hotels at the top of the hill, you just hear the gale practically blowing all night long. It's touring in mountains, damp, windy, humid, foggy, everything's thrown at you in a weekend of racing.
How many times did you see the sun there?
You know, I was just thinking that, very few times. In fact, when we were there for the World Championships 2004, did we get 2 sunny days out of, what was it, 15? Rare.
Yeah, something like that. But when the stadium is full, it does generate one of the best atmospheres of all the venues. It's pretty partisan, it has to be said, but it is a good venue. And of course, a lot of the German athletes come from this area.
They do, and Fratscher, we're looking at him now. In fact, from his race here on this day last year, he came 61st, missing only 2. We haven't seen him again in World Cup racing. He was sent back to the IBU Cup, but did very well there last season, and good to see him back at World Cup racing.
Yeah, it's pretty unpleasant, and Fratscher taking the wind.
Fratscher, he should make a top 25 when he comes in. It will be close. 23rd at the moment, although his pace isn't looking strong.
Sweden's Oscar Brandt just taking advantage of the human shield in front of him. And that's absolutely the way to race. But somehow he's got to stay with the German on the climb.
Fracture is picking up well, determination, forcing him racing at home. There's a lot of kudos there, and he really wants to remain in the team. 61st last year. It's going to be a top 25, maybe 26 to date. Again, another turn of pace. Seeing that fantastic finish line, inspiring every particle of energy to be laid out on the track.
Fracture should make the top 30 today. He does comfortably. Goes into 22nd position after the second shoot. I can't see anyone who's started after him who's got a decent result so far. So I think that might be the last top 30 result that we see here today. Jacquelin was leading after that second shoot, but has been out-skied by Alexander Loginov. That perhaps the most surprising thing of the day. Possibly it was the conditions, possibly the wind on that last lap, but take nothing away from Loginov, Mike. He wanted this one badly.
He really did. I just felt that Jacquelin he didn't look that dynamic, powerful machine that he was before Christmas, and that gave Loginov some hope. Loginov, I thought, was very controlled. He kept his technique comfortable, and another victory for Loginov.
Yeah, Jacquelin, of course, with 2 misses, which won't have helped his cause. Leigrad with just 1 miss today, 15 seconds down off the race leader, so that's where he will start on Sunday. Johannes Kern finished 4 and is 18.6 behind. He's got Ries just behind him, so the 2 Germans could work together in the early stages of the pursuit. Babikov starting 6th, Taliabov 7th, Vostov, another good race from him, the Russian in 8th, ahead of Theo Maillet, who missed 2 today. And then Philip Fjeld Andersen of Norway, 10th position, the second best Norwegian, Mike, and he might just have gone ahead of Bakken in terms of that event selection in the Olympic Games.
It's close, it's really close. And then just behind him, I'm delighted to see Fabien Claude racing for Belgium. Yes, he's the brother of Florent, but it's good to see him up there, top 11.
Yeah, Florent Claude, of course, the one that's racing for Belgium. And
yes, there's 3 brothers.
Yeah, and Fabien a bit further down in 23rd position, which is good enough because he's soundly beaten Gigener, which was really his orders for the day if he wants to go to the Olympics. Simon Detieux down in 47, but I think he'll probably be safe in terms of selection. Perrault is down in 70. Gigener down in 80. 6 misses on the day, and he won't get to play in the pursuit. So, yeah, Fabien Claude producing just the result he needed today.
And some other athletes, of course, Jakob Fack coming into better form, Sean Doherty into his season's best form in 20th, missing 1. That's really good news, and Paul Schomer, the second American, 24th.
Yeah, he made it, so that's good.
In terms of the World Cup, I mentioned the positions prior to this race. Jacquelin, Fielmaillet, Christiansen were the top 3, with Jacquelin finishing 2nd. He extends his lead over Fielmaillet, who's down in 9th, and Christiansen of Norway down in 16th, so he loses a bit of ground. Leigrid was in 9th at the start of the day, will almost certainly go ahead of Smolski. He'll go, will he catch Johannes Tingis Bø? It's going to be close, but I think Bø is still safe in the top 7. There's a bit of an eerie feel around this stadium, Mike. At most of the venues where we haven't had crowds, the teams have got involved. But you know, from the body language we saw from the coaches prior to the start of this race, no one really wanted to be here.
Except one man, Eric Lesser, was looking the happiest man on the track. Sadly, it didn't go well for him in the race, but no, you're right. These windy, damp conditions, the heads drop down for most people.
Yeah, Weissner just across the line for Switzerland. Yeah, a get well message for Benny Vega. He has just tested positive for COVID. I don't think he has any symptoms at all, but they were very quick to isolate him. They've tested all the other Swiss athletes and they're all okay. But that's 2 positive cases in the last 48 hours. One of the Russian team and Benny Vega of Switzerland. So they will be in forced isolation for a while.
And Weissner just saying there, oh well, missed 5, but Benny Vega actually watching it from the warmth of his accommodation. He'll be thinking, oh well, if I have to miss a race this season or a couple of races, that's okay on a day like today. With his coffee in his hand.
David Komatz.
And surprisingly, Patrick, top 60 our usual field for 2 minutes 20 to 2 minutes 30. Today it's 2 minutes 32 to make that cut-off for Sunday's pursuit competition.
Yeah, Poncelomo just squeezing in with his 5 misses. Norath 5 misses, he squeezes in 51st position. But I think really, Mike, we should big up Kobanoki's performance for Japan. I know he's 41st, but he shot 10 out of 10, which was no mean achievement. And of course, the Chinese will be celebrating in their own way with a 12th position finish from Cheng, and just 42 seconds off the race winner. That is brilliant. First sign of form from the Chinese this year, and it was fitting that we got to see Oliana Bjorndalen before the start of the race.
And if I'm not, I haven't got all the stats in front of me, but I do believe that's the best ever performance in the men's field. We've had better in women's field in terms of a Chinese athlete's performance at World Cup.
Yeah, and there was more to give, to be honest, wasn't there, Mike? Because, you know, if all the targets fall, we're looking at a top 5.
Oh, and that's what the coaching staff will be looking at tonight. The ski speed is there. Yes, hitting 9, it's very, very good at 12, but so easily it can be, as you say, a top 5. And if you're top 5, you're looking at medals. The potential for medals, that is.
Damit sind noch 2 im Bunde, die noch auf der Strecke sind, auf dem Weg ins Ziel.
Just looking at the coaches, so many of them in the Chinese team, but Jean-Pierre Amott, the Olympic gold medalist who's done so much throughout the last 20 years, 25 years working with the French team, Oliana Bjorndalen, Daria Drombracheva, and then Erik Kulstad, another coach from Norway, and 4 or 5 technicians from Norway as well.
Yeah, they're taking it seriously. But you have many years of history and in some ways a culture to change.
It's hard to learn this sport late in life, isn't it? You've got to get on those skis age 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to understand and learn just easy movement without thought. When you learn it at 19, 20, 21, you're thinking it all the time because it's not ingrained, it's not inbuilt.
Yeah, but I think at some stage it does become natural. But the difference for me, Mike, is when an athlete gets tired, if they haven't been born and bred on skis, the technique changes and it falls apart. For those, and we've seen plenty of examples of that this year, when they're absolutely finished, but they still look immaculately balanced on the ski.
Yes, my mind was just flashing back to the Tour de Ski, looking at Sjur Rote going up 3.5 kilometers up a blue run, alpine blue run. He made it look so efficient and so incredibly easy, and his win time showed fantastic speed.
Yeah, so a great win for Alexander Loginov of Russia, gets the Russians' account underway. Jacquelin does his World Cup challenge, no harm at all, with a second place, another 54 points in the bag, thank you very much. And he extends his lead over Fillon Maillet in the overall World Cup standings. And third place today, Sturlaholm Leigreid, who was, for many, the star of last year, just missed out on taking the overall. But my goodness, was he impressive from the start last year. And of course he won the very first race of this year, but things have been difficult for him since then. He gets third place today ahead of Johannes Kern, who missed 2 and was still only 18 seconds off the lead. So I think, Mike, by looking at the finish, there are probably 5, 6, 7, 8 athletes who could have won if they'd hit all 10 targets.
Oh, incredible. And though this kind of windy day allows strange things to happen. There's Jacquelin still standing tall at the top of the world score.
Yeah, from a 2-point lead to a 24-point lead, thanks to his efforts today and another podium finish. Lucas Hofer down in 27. Eric Lesser didn't really help his cause today, down in 30. He stays in yellow for another day. We'll see him racing on Sunday. And I guess only 6 seconds down on Loginov. He probably starts as favourite after his efforts in Annecy just 3 weeks ago.
Leigreid third in this race on this day last year, and third again 1 year later.
So that's 3 sprints in Oberhof. He's gone third, second, third. Great consistency. The only difference today is he missed the target. Otherwise, the win would have been his. Certainly didn't have easy conditions.
He didn't. The wind was from the left, now from the front. That pushes the fall of the shot down. He mastered it well.
Starting to look stronger on the skis as well. Sturlaholm Leigreid. His 12th podium finish in World Cup racing. Jacquelin, he must have thought he had the win, Mike. He celebrated pretty well when he came across the line. Big punch of the air.
And I do wonder if he backed off on the last 3.3 kilometers, thinking that a lot of the big names he would have been informed have been shooting less well. And I think he may have backed off just a little on the last lap.
6.5 seconds the margin. He's a powerful looking athlete now. Spent many hours training with Martin Fourcade. Fourcade highly rating this young man. Loginov, small in stature, big in spirit. That was a really gutsy last lap, and as you can see, he pretty much had to cope with the worst of the weather conditions. Took a full 2 minutes out of Simon Dethieu, who could only sit behind Loginov on the lap. 1 miss from Loginov. Would have had a 30-second margin if they'd all gone down. Chances of doing the double and winning the pursuit as well, pretty slim. Loginov led coming into that final shoot, having hit 5 out of 5 in the pro, and he missed 1 in the stand, but he didn't give up the chase. Came out of the stadium knowing he had 6 seconds to make up on Jacquelin. He was actually down in 3rd place behind Lygrid as well, so a really good last
I think you really wanted this, but what's with Oberhof? You always do your best here.
Спасибо большое. И на самом деле я рад, что сегодня получилась хорошая гонка в таких очень тяжелых биатлонных условиях. И я думаю, это хороший праздник для всей нашей команды.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy that this was really good competition, and especially because conditions were really tough, and this is a big celebration for all our team.
How important is this result for you after a not so great start of the year?
Честно, для меня это очень важный результат, потому что до Нового года не все получалось, хотя я провел очень хороший подготовительный сезон. И сейчас я рад, что это все вылилось в результат.
Yeah, I'm really happy, just also because before, and it's also super important for me, just because before New Year the results were not so good, but yeah, now it was the right time for it.
Congratulations and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, thank you. Спасибо большое. Спасибо.
Beim Sprint Nominierlo 2020.
Today you want to highlight, Mike?
Yes, we've highlighted some of the early ones. I was looking further down at some not so good. Well, we did mention Ponsiloma. He likes it here normally, but you can't get by, missing 5. I thought Khalili from Russia, I was expecting better. I know he's skiing well, but he missed 4. He's 45th. And we saw Jesper Nella missing his 4.
In terms of starting positions, you know, we have Lygrid, who started 7. He's the only one out of the first 10 to have got himself near the top of the order. Roman Rees started 89, Babikov 62, Tadej Bo 62. There are a lot of later starters. Loginov, he's won it, starting number 56, and maybe it was a better bet to go in groups 3.
I think so. You were shaded in terms of track speed time, with lots of athletes still to come, lots of athletes ahead. I think Tarja Boer, for me, deserves a special mention, finishing 7th, missing 3 targets, 23 seconds behind, and he just misses up on this lineup, the top 6 getting recognised today.
Third place, always the first to come up, and it's a self-service business now, collecting your medals for obvious reasons.
He's asking Borut Nuna, which is it? Which is mine?
That will help push Lygrid closer to the top 5 in the World Cup standings. Just 1 or 2 slips this year. Missed the pursuit in Östersund due to ill health, which hasn't helped his cause. Jacquelin, he'll be delighted to have defended the yellow bib, but even happier to have pulled up to 24 points clear of his teammate and main rival at the moment. It's proving to be another very good day for the French. And, you know, the French history since 94, Mike, has been pretty impressive with Poiret and Fourcade, and now the likes of Jacquelin and Phil-Maillet.
Yes, you're right, and they had hoped, as Loganov goes up, they had hoped for those Olympics in 1992, but the investment had started, the seed of success had been sort of sown, but it took some years to build the strength that we're seeing now.
Loganov, only 1 result so far this season in the top 4. Suddenly, he's on the top step of the podium. He always has the potential to do this. He often races well in Antolz as well, so we'll see how he goes there. Fourth place for Johannes Kuhn. 11th in the rankings prior to today. That's a couple of much better results from him. Of course, he won the sprint in Hochfilzen earlier this season. So to get to within 1 of the podium, I think that's reassuring. Rekindle that confidence that may have been waning a little bit. Roman Rees 5, Babikov in 6th position. So 2 Germans, 2 Russians in the medal ceremony, 1 Norwegian, 1 Frenchman. Well, the Russian fans will have be disappointed to have missed out on this, Mike.
Oh, they really will, and I think the German team, they really have, well, 2 of their athletes making top 5. That's a really good news for Germany, and good news for next week as well, as the tour moves down to Ruhpolding.
Well, we'll leave you with a few more shots of the racing action from today. Just a wrap-up. Loganov, Jacquelin, Lygrid on the podium in that order. First victory for the Russians this year. Johannes Kuhn, Roman Rees doing a whole lot to raise the spirits of the home nation here in Oberhof, 4th and 5th. And then Anton Babikov of Russia beating Tadej Bo for 6th place. And the men's race is done. They have a mixed relay tomorrow and then the pursuit on Sunday. With the women, they are due to start in just over an hour's time. They start at 1:15 UK time, 14:15 local time, and of course they race the sprint format as well. We will see you then.